By the late 19th century, Spain was an empire living on memories. Its golden age had faded, leaving behind distant colonies held together by pride rather than power. Across the Atlantic, the United States was restless. Factories roared, cities swelled, and a young nation searched for a purpose beyond its borders. Cuba became the spark, an island close enough to touch, yet trapped under Spanish rule. Sugar plantations burned, civilians starved, and rebellion whispered through palm-lined roads. Most Americans didn't want war, but they couldn't look away anymore. History rarely announces itself loudly. Sometimes it clears its throat first. Spain called it pacification. Cubans called it hell. General Valeriano Weyler ordered civilians into camps, crowded, unsanitary, and lethal. Families were torn from farms and homes, left with disease instead of protection. Starvation became policy. American journalists arrived with notebooks and outrage. They didn't invent suffering, but they amplified it. Photographs crossed oceans faster than diplomats. Public opinion hardened. This was no longer a distant colonial problem. It felt personal. In New York, headlines screamed. William Randolph Hearst and Joseph Pulitzer competed not for truth, but for attention. "Remember the Maine" would soon echo everywhere. Facts bent under emotion. War sold newspapers. This was yellow journalism, bold, emotional, and dangerous. It didn't start the fire, but it poured gasoline on it. America wasn't dragged into war. It was seduced. February 15th, 1898. Havana Harbor. A quiet night shattered by an explosion. The USS Maine sank in minutes. 266 sailors died. No clear evidence. No clear enemy. But rage doesn't wait for investigations. The words were ready. The war was inevitable. The war lasted just 10 weeks. But its consequences lasted generations. Spain lost an empire. America found one. From Cuba to the Philippines, flags changed, but lives remained complicated. Victory tasted different depending on who you asked. This was not the end of a war. It was the beginning of a new world order. Most Americans imagined the war would be fought in Cuba. Few realized it would begin half a world away. In the Pacific, the Spanish Empire still clung to the Philippines. An aging fleet, tired sailors, outdated cannons facing a modern navy. The United States didn't wait. Before Spain could react, American ships were already moving. This war would not respect geography. It would be global before globalization had a name. May 1st, 1898. Manila Bay. Commodore George Dewey gave a calm order. "You may fire when ready." Within hours, the Spanish fleet was gone. Not defeated, erased. This wasn't a battle. It was a demonstration of a new era. While the Pacific burned, Cuba waited. American troops landed on unfamiliar beaches. Most had never left home before. Heat replaced fear. Disease replaced bullets. This wasn't the glorious war newspapers promised. This was survival. The hill wasn't high, but history made it tall. Spanish defenders waited quietly. American troops charged uphill under fire. Among them was Theodore Roosevelt, former Assistant Secretary, future president. Victory came, but at a cost. Newspapers loved the Rough Riders. Cowboys, athletes, adventurers. The myth grew fast, faster than truth. History doesn't always reward accuracy. It rewards good stories. More soldiers died from disease than bullets. Yellow fever, malaria, dysentery. This war reminded America of an old truth. Nature doesn't care about victory. Spain knew the war was lost. Its navy shattered. Its treasury empty. Negotiations began quietly. Empires don't like public endings. December 1898. Paris. Spain surrendered Cuba, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. The map changed. The war ended. The argument began. Cuba gained independence, on paper. American troops stayed. American interests remained. Freedom arrived with conditions. History often does that. The United States emerged transformed. No longer just a republic, now a global power. The Spanish-American War was short, but its shadow was long. The 20th century had begun. The war was supposed to be over, but in the Philippines, it was just beginning. Liberators don't expect resistance. Empires never do. At home, Americans argued. How could a nation born from rebellion deny freedom to others? Mark Twain mocked the hypocrisy. Andrew Carnegie opposed expansion. Supporters spoke of destiny and opportunity. Critics warned of empire and corruption. This war forced a mirror onto America, and not everyone liked what they saw. The Philippine-American War was brutal. No front lines, no clear victories. Jungles swallowed soldiers. Ambushes replaced battles. Civilians were caught in between. This wasn't the war Americans imagined. It was messy and morally exhausting. America won, but quietly. No parades filled the streets. No triumphant songs echoed through cities. Because this victory felt different, heavier, complicated. The war launched a career. Theodore Roosevelt emerged as a national hero. Energy, confidence, ambition. Within years, he would become president. The war followed him into the White House. The lesson was clear. Sea power meant global power. America built steel fleets, overseas bases, strategic canals. This war reshaped American strategy for generations. Spain turned inward. The empire was gone. Only memory remained. For Spain, the war was an ending. For America, a beginning. The war changed journalism forever. Emotion sold. Speed mattered more than certainty. Modern media was born in this conflict, and it never looked back. Flags changed quickly. Lives did not. Civilians carried the longest burden. They always do. Was America an empire or something else? The argument never ended. It simply evolved. From Vietnam to the Middle East, the echoes of 1898 remained. 10 weeks. That's all it took to change how America saw itself and how the world saw America. This war was different from everything that came before it. It was not fought for survival. It was fought for influence. American forces operated across oceans. Industry powered the battlefield. Media shaped public perception in real time. For the first time, the United States fought not as a former colony, but as an emerging global power. This was America's first truly global war. History remembers victories. It remembers dates, treaties, and flags. What it often forgets are the people in between. The civilians. The soldiers who returned quietly. The nations left reshaped but unresolved. Understanding history means looking beyond triumph and into consequence. The Spanish-American War did not end in 1898. Its legacy stretched into the 20th century, into foreign policy, into military doctrine, into every debate about American power abroad. Again and again, the same question returned. What should America be? In 1898, the United States crossed an invisible line, from republic to world power, from isolation to intervention. The war was short. The consequences were not. The modern American century began here.